Hello everyone and welcome to Barca News. It's October 24, 2022, and with Barcelona's victory of Athletic Bilbao, Ter Stegen has set a new La Liga record. Also, we have an update on Sergi Roberto's injury, and it's reported that the club considered hiring Andrea Pirlo as a Barcelona manager. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and as I reported yesterday, Barcelona defeated Athletic Bilbao 4-0 at the Spotify Camp Nou in a great tactical display by Xavi. Now Xavi surprised all of us with a 4-2-3-1 formation, and he also deployed 4 midfielders, including using Frenkie de Jong and Sergi Busquets as the double pivot. Now, using a double pivot was a great tactical decision by Xavi because it allowed Frenkie de Jong to help Sergi Busquets in the defensive duties, which then gave Barcelona control of the midfield, nullifying Athletic Bilbao's attack, and it also allowed Frenkie de Jong the freedom to make those runs to the box, which he usually enjoys. Now, the double pivot position is a more suited position for Frenkie de Jong. It's his natural position. It's the position that he played in when he was at Ajax, and it's also the position that he plays in when he's with the Netherlands national team. And a double pivot position is a better position for Frenkie de Jong than a single pivot because, as I've discussed in previous videos, Frenkie de Jong is the kind of player that likes to make forward runs to the box with the ball at his feet. He likes to dribble past players, and as a result, he tends to lose the ball a lot. And when you're a single pivot, and you lose the ball, that leaves your defense exposed, because a pivot position is not only to dictate the tempo of the match with his passes, but a single pivot's job is also to screen and to help your defense by stopping the opposing attacks. So by having Frenkie de Jong in his natural position as a double pivot, not only did it allow him to help Sergio Busquets with the defense work against Athletic Bilbao, but it also allowed him to make those runs to the box, and he was able to participate in Barcelona's attacks, and he would also participate in the build-up to a lot of the plays, including Barcelona's 4th goal that was scored by Ferran Torres. Now, using the double pivot position also allowed Pedri to be more involved in Barcelona's attacks, because Pedri usually has to stay back a lot of times to help Sergio Busquets in his defensive duties. By having Frenkie de Jong doing that instead of Pedri, allowed Pedri the freedom to make more runs to the box, to be more active in the attack, which allowed Barcelona to have one more man who can score goals in the box, and as a result allowed Athletic Bilbao's defenders to be split and to take some of the attention away from Robert Lewandowski. Because as we've seen in previous matches, especially against Inter Milan and Real Madrid, all that Rafinha and Dembele were doing were sending crosses to the box, hoping that Robert Lewandowski would head them in. And since Lewandowski was the only player who had a goal threat inside the box, that allowed the opposing teams to focus all their defenses on Lewandowski, and as a result, it nullified Barcelona's one and only threat. But by having Frenkie de Jong in a double pivot position, it allowed Pedri to be more involved in the attack, and as a result, Barcelona had one more threat in the box, which then split Athletic Bilbao's defenders and took some of the defensive attention away from Robert Lewandowski. Now, having Pedri also more involved in the attack, it allowed Alejandro Balde to make those deep runs in the left flank, as it freed up that position for Alejandro Balde, who created a lot of danger and he created a lot of chances from that left side. And by having Alejandro Balde making those deep runs, not only did it allow Barcelona to have one more extra threat in their attack, but it also nullified Athletic Bilbao's Nico Williams, who's one of the most threatening wingers currently in La Liga. And by having Alejandro Balde making those deep runs, it kept Nico Williams busy by having to constantly track back to his own box and to help his teammates in the defensive works. And as a result, it kept them busy and away from attacking, which was an extra point for Barcelona. Now, this 4-2-3-1 formation also allowed Dembele a lot of freedom, where he was able to dribble past players, to make those inverted runs, to cut into the box. And as a result, Dembele was an absolute nightmare for Athletic Bilbao, and that allowed him not only to score a goal, but it also allowed him to provide a hat-trick of assists. Now, with these 3 assists, Dembele has now become the 3rd player with the most assists in Europe's top 5 leagues, with 15 assists, right behind De Bruyne, who has 16 assists, and right behind Lionel Messi, who has 19 assists. Now, Dembele's goal was Barcelona's 4,000th home goal, and coincidentally, Barcelona's number 3,000 home goal was also scored against Athletic Bilbao, and it was scored by the Dutchman Patrick Kluivert in 2004. Now Robert Lewandowski, who's currently engaged in the race with Erling Haaland for Europe's Golden Boot, he scored his 12th goal in 11 matches in La Liga, and his goal was Barcelona's 100th goal under Xavi, and it only took the team 52 matches in order to reach that number. Now speaking of records, Ter Stegen was able to score a La Liga record by keeping 9 clean sheets in 11 matches, and he's the first goalkeeper to reach that level in the 21st century. And Ter Stegen was able to break the previous record that was 8 clean sheets in 11 matches that was previously held by the 2 former Barcelona goalkeepers Victor Valdés and Claudio Bravo, and by the Atletico Madrid goalkeeper Jan Oblak. Now overall, it was a brilliant performance by the team last night, and they were good in every aspect of the game. They were solid defensively, the midfield took control of the match, and the offense gave us 4 brilliant goals. Now as promised, after the defeat against Real Madrid in the Clásico, Xavi changed things tactically, and he gave us this new formation which completely caught Ernesto Valverde and Athletic Bilbao off guard, as they all admitted it in the press conferences after the match. Now, I'm really glad to see Xavi changing things up tactically, because as I had discussed in previous videos, the 4-3-3 formation had only worked against weaker opponents, as we saw in a string of victories that Barcelona had prior to the international break. However, it wasn't working against stronger opponents such as Inter Milan and Real Madrid. And I said in those videos that Xavi needed to change things up in order to be able to compete against stronger teams, and that's exactly what Xavi did. And he gave us this new formation which completely caught Athletic Bilbao off guard, and as a result, what was expected to be a difficult and a challenging match for Barcelona ended up being a cruise to victory for the team. Now, even though I was really happy to see Xavi changing things tactically, I would have preferred seeing him use this formation against Bayern Munich on Wednesday as to catch the German side completely off guard, because now that we've used this formation against Athletic Bilbao, Bayern Munich now know to expect 2 different formations that Barcelona could possibly use. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to work against Bayern Munich because they've already seen it, but I am saying that I would have loved to see it used for the first time against the German side, to see him completely being caught off guard like Athletic Bilbao were caught off guard this weekend. Now, as I reported in yesterday's video, which I will leave the link for down below in the description in case you want to check it out, both Gabi and Sergi Roberto had to abandon the field during the match due to injuries. Now, Gabi left during the first half after a strong collision with an Athletic Bilbao player, and Sergi Roberto was taken off by stretcher during the second half. Now, Barcelona have confirmed that Gabi has not suffered any serious injuries, so it's most likely that he's not going to miss out any playing time. However, the club have confirmed that Sergi Roberto has suffered a dislocated shoulder. Now, Barcelona have not confirmed how long Sergi Roberto is going to be out, but it's reported that he could miss around 6 weeks, and given that the World Cup will start next month in November, it's most likely that we're not going to see Sergi Roberto in a Barcelona jersey until next year. Now, this is a big blow to Barcelona, who continue to suffer with injury after injury, and especially since Sergi Roberto was having a really good season so far. But thankfully, our other right back, which is Hector Bellerin, has already recovered, and we also have the option of playing Jules Koundé, who has also recovered in that right back position. Now, Barcelona's next opponent will be Bayern Munich on Wednesday, October the 26th in the Champions League. And even though Barcelona faced a big possibility of getting eliminated, it's reported that the team only objective is to defeat Bayern Munich, because they want to show and they want to send a message to the world that they can compete against big teams. Now, as I reported in previous videos, Inter Milan is going to face off against Victoria Pilsen earlier that day, and if Inter Milan win their match, then Barcelona will be automatically eliminated out of the Champions League prior to their match beginning. Now, if Inter Milan draw or lose against the Czech side, then Barcelona will still have a chance to qualify into the round of 16. Now, if you would like to support Barcelona in their match against Bayern Munich, please consider going to Kitback, where they have the biggest selection of Barcelona jerseys and Barcelona gear. So make sure you hit the link down below so you can support Barcelona in this tough and difficult match against Bayern Munich for our survival in the Champions League. Now, on to the news that it's reported that Barcelona considered hiring Andrea Pirlo as the team's manager after the sacking of Ronald Koeman. Now, it's reported that the club met with the Barcelona captains, which are Gerard Piqué, Sergi Roberto, Sergio Busquets, and Jordi Alba, and they discussed with them the possibility of hiring Andrea Pirlo as Barcelona's manager. Now, the Barcelona captains were not a fan of this idea, and they instead recommended that the club hire Xavi Hernandez Hernandez, and as a result, Barcelona decided to hire Xavi Hernandez in the place of Andrea Pirlo. Now, thankfully, the club decided to listen to its captains, because not only is Xavi doing a wonderful job with the team, but we've also saw what happened with Andrea Pirlo and Juventus. Now, we will end today's video with the news that Barca Athletic have suffered their 4th loss during this season and their 2nd loss in a row after losing 4-0 against Logroñés. Now, speaking of Barca Athletic, it's reported that Dani Alves has began training with Rafa Marquez's men because he wants to be physically ready in case Brazil's coach Tite decides to call up on him for the 2022 Qatar World Cup. Now, I really like that Barcelona is doing this with their legends, where they're keeping their doors open for them to come and train, just the same way they did with Luis Suarez when he was training in the Barcelona facilities over the summer ahead of his move to the Uruguayan League. Also, having Dani Alves is most likely going to be a great boost for the Barca Athletic youngsters who have suffered 4 losses so far during the season, given that not only is Dani Alves a charismatic personality, but he's also a player with a lot of experience, and he's someone who has great leadership skills. So hopefully he can inspire these youngsters to get back to their winning ways. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I'd like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. And as always, peace, Barca.